part of developing properly is kind of knowing when to open up that part of the mind, that mindset. It's like opening up a door and then opening yourself up and really getting involved in it and surrendering and allowing. And at the end, when you're done working, you got to close that door. You got to turn off that light because you don't want to keep yourself in that high vibration because, of course, everything is energy and the spirit people are in a higher dimension. So the energy, of course, is much faster. The vibration is so much quicker. And the closest thing we have is love that brings that higher frequency. And so you cannot be at that higher frequency all the time being in the human experience because your soul, what happens is the analogy I like to use is like a ceiling fan. The more you have that ceiling fan on, the more it'll burn out. You got to turn it off every once in a while. Same thing with our adrenals. In the intuitive work, you really, really work heavily with those adrenals, and you don't want to overtax them. So you got to be very, very aware of the physical being, the emotional being, your mental self, your physical self. All those bodies have to kind of be in sync and integrated properly in balance, and then you're ready to begin the work. And for me, it's very sacred work. I've always thought of it that way, that I'm becoming an ambassador from that higher realms of light, of love, to bring that through. Anyone who does mediumship that doesn't come from that space, and that's fine. They can be very great technicians out there, but just because they're a great technician doesn't always mean they're spiritual. So just because someone's a medium doesn't always mean they're spiritual. On my side, which I can say is I've been aware for a long time of the other aspects of the spiritual part of it. Because I think talking to dead people, yeah, that's the end product. That's what we get, the results. But really, it's about soul awareness, evolving your soul self. It's mediumship really work for the soul. And within doing that, and you're expanding your soul self, you become aware of that, the knowingness, if you will, and able to connect easy. Because the only difference between us in the human form and people in the spirit, we're in this meat suit called the body. They're just outside of it. So if you're shifting your consciousness away from here into the other realms, you should be able to pick up on it easily.
I mean, how does it impact your own personal relationship with the other side? Like your own awareness of death and mortality? Does it shift that because you're speaking to
Sure.
people from the other side? Can you illuminate that a
Sure,
little bit?
sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So whether it's mediumship or it's years of meditation or just mindfulness or awareness practice, it shifts your awareness. And we grow every day. At least I hope we grow every day. Everyone should aspire to grow consciously every day in every way they can. Maybe it's a demonstration of forgiveness, of unconditional love, of being present, whatever it might be. We should try something new every day to grow, to learn, to expand. As a medium, it's always changing. It always does because your mindset changes. And for me, again, depends on where you place your mind, where you place your thoughts, what you open up to, what you aspire to. And for me, what's worked really well is a sense of really being humbled about it. I realize there's so much more than that. And this is just a sliver. So it's a relationship with your soul self. And one really begins to know who they are as a soul being. And I guess that this work has really helped that awareness, helped me as a soul being. And other things it's taught me as well. And it's taught me a lot that a couple of wonderful golden nuggets are um, you should treat other people the way you want to be treated. Because when one passes over, one of the first things that happens is what's called the life review. And because you're not in time anymore, you're outside of time, you go back to those memories or those lessons that the soul came back to learn, and you become aware of the people that were involved in it in this situation. You become aware of how you created a thought and the impact or the act or the words, the power of the words, and how that you see that they all have substance. They have awareness or knowledge. You'll see how that those words affected that other person and the other person, or maybe then how they go home, and then it affects what they've gone through, affects the people in their family. And there's what's called a rippling effect of how your one word, your one thought, your one action affected that person, and that person, and that person, and that person. So if you have that awareness, just for a moment, if you can imagine the entire world, everybody had the awareness that you will meet up with everything you put out to the people. That people, you're gonna find that when you pass over. That's your heaven or hell you've created based on what you thought, what you did, and how you act, and you said. So that's really important. If you imagine if everybody had that awareness, the world would be a very, very different place because people would be called and they're responsible for their thoughts, words, and actions.
I mean, it's profound thinking about the life review, and yeah, means so many different
It
things that
changes you, right? It changes having that awareness should change everybody, that you don't get away with anything, that it all of your thoughts, actions, and words will meet you when you pass to the higher frequency, when you go back home. I think that world is our home. I think this earth is a school for the soul, one of many, by the way. There's one hard one, not an easy one. All different levels of soul beings here, baby souls to middle school souls to postgraduate souls. And because you have all those different levels of soul vibration, soul awareness or knowingness, it'll set various scenarios. And you'll have scenarios of all different types of soul levels. So the more one knows himself and can be observant and objective, they can have a better understanding of how that person is, the awareness that person has, and how that person has. And they got to bring their own, share their awareness, experiences, be learned from everybody. So it's interesting how you get involved in the whole human elements when you get into this work, at least for me.
it's interesting you mentioned like certain souls are, on earlier stages of their soul reincarnation journey, some in middle school, some further along in their journey. Do certain people have greater propensities for naturally inclined towards healing arts and mysticism, and does that come with being more mature as a soul, or is that just a conflation? Is it just depending on whoever's soul and
I
makeup it
think it's
is?
so simple, and we as humans want to make it more complex.
Yeah.
Because we really want to make it more than it is. It's really truth is really simple. So it's all about experiences. So life experiences, the soul's growth, the soul's understanding, the soul's learning. And this isn't the only place to learn. There are many, many galaxies, millions of galaxies, spaces and places, worlds within worlds, if you will. And a soul experiences many, many places and spaces, and they come back on this earth. And let's say, because of all those experiences they had, all those classes they took, all those other schools and universities, it made their soul grow, have a different awareness, if you will. So those tend to be the older souls, where they've had a lot of experiences. Again, not only of this earth vibration, but other places and spaces, right? And so when they come to this earth vibration, a very dense space, they tend to bring that awareness and illuminate. So that we call the light workers, as you are, the light workers. They bring that awareness, that healing, that vibration to people of all different levels. And I often say to people, students of mine, and then people I speak with, it really matters what you meet people where they're at. You can't be better than or less than. Just be where you're at, and you're going to teach them. You're going to learn from them. And I say, just because somebody has a book out, or they're on television, well known as celebrity, or they're this, doesn't mean they know everything for you, because people should resonate what's truth to them, what speaks to their soul. Maybe someone with great, political this or a celebrity, whatever it may be, and that might be that, in front of the public, doesn't necessarily mean they're evolved, right? So everybody's should resonate. Whatever resonates as truth to their soul feeds the soul. If it doesn't, throw it out. Simple as that.
Having spoken to souls on the other side, then is there such a thing as spiritual regret? Like, do souls on the other side
Very good
communicate with?
question. Good question. Yeah. So when you first pass over, and this is 40 years of doing this, talking to hundreds of thousands of souls, we call them souls, who, number one, just the death experience itself, it's a releasing, it's a letting go, it's a freedom. And immediately the soul feels very free, unencumbered by the heaviness of the body, of this dense vibration. And again, it's going home. That's a home. And one of the first things that comes back is the awareness, the memory comes back of, oh my God, I am a soul. That was just a small sliver of experience. That was a lesson called human life, which, by the way, they're outside of time. Time is not relative to those other dimensions. This time is only the three-dimensional world. So when you step out of the body, when you slip out of the body, that's what you described as slipping out of the body. There's an awareness of the greatness of who you are, the expansion of your soul, has your soul point of view. And you see the time on earth very 70, 80, 90 years is very small in the scheme of things. And you start to have, once you pass over, you have the awareness that you're out of the body, but you're still very, very alive, more so than when you're in the body, many say, that there's an awareness of, again, the people in your lives you've touched. You'll have reunion. People will come and reunite with you. And it can be people from old school, from parts of your life that you maybe opened the door for some person once, and they said thank you, and you might see they might come to greet you. All different types of people whose lives you affected. All those lives will be affected, whether good or bad, by the way.
Hey there, Inspired Evolutionary. If you absolutely love this, well, then here's a full conversation with this guest on the Inspired Evolution podcast. Check it out now.